Okay, so in today's lesson we're looking at the cosine rule. Now, yesterday we had a little look at the sine rule, and we said the first thing that we always need to be able to do when we're doing the sine rule is to label our triangle, and it's exactly the same for the cosine rule. So we already know this, but this is capital A, this is little a, this here is capital B, this here is little b, this here is capital C, this here is lowercase c, like so. We always need to be able to label our triangle. There, like so. That's the first thing that we always do. Okay? We then, there's a few little hints, wasn't there? So, label, if you can, label what you want as either capital A or little a. Okay? If you can, label what you want. Sorry, that's not what you want. Label what you need as capital A or big A. Okay, we did that yesterday. It's exactly the same for this one. Now, we also then said to use a need/got list. However, the difference with today is, the key question we knew was, do I have a matching pair in my got list? And we said that if the answer to this was yes, yesterday, if the answer to this was yes, then I use the sine rule. But today, we're looking at this and the answer is no. So if the answer to this is no, then I'm going to be using the cosine rule. So, get all of that down first of all. I am going to tell you what the cosine rule is. So the cosine rule, now take note, I know this is tricky. You do actually need to remember this, okay? The cosine rule is a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared, a little bit like Pythagoras, minus 2bc cos of capital A. That there is the cosine rule, okay? That's probably the most important part when we get to this point where, well, you do need to know that, don't you? That is the cosine rule there. However, we do also need to know it for the, sorry, this is for sides, okay? I probably should have said that. This is the cosine rule for finding a side. Now, if we're finding an angle, you've got to rearrange all of this. You can, if you want to, just use this formula. Now, I'm going to show you how to rearrange it, but you don't actually need to do this every time if you can remember what the formula is, okay? A squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos of A. Now, if I take away 2bc cos A from both sides, I end up with, so I'm going to take the 2bc cos A to one side. I'm going to bring the a squared back, which gives me 2bc cos of A is equal to b squared plus c squared minus a. So I'm taking those onto the other side like so. The next thing I need to do is to get rid of this by dividing by it. So it's going to be cos A is equal to b squared plus c squared minus a squared, all divided by 2bc. And then the last little part is because I don't want, if I'm finding an angle, I don't want cos A, I just want A on its own. So to get rid of that cos, I know the inverse of cos is cos to the minus 1. So A is equal to b squared plus c squared minus a squared, all over, probably should have, so it's cos to the minus 1 of b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. Now this here is the angle for the formula. Sorry, the formula for the angle, which is there. So that's for finding an angle. If you're not sure what I was doing above there, then you don't worry too much about it. As long as you remember both of these. So this here is the proof. This is the proof. This is the important part. The reason I'm going through that proof is because they don't actually give you either of these formulas, okay? You've got to remember them. So I always try and work out what that angle formula is by using the proof. Okay, get all of those down. I'll give you a second to get all of that down. Okay, so let's have a go at a question then, because to be honest, it's very similar to what we did yesterday. I'm going to do one on the left, and then you're going to have a little go at one on the right. So this one here is example 1. Draw it down for me, please. Find the value of y. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. Now, the first thing that we always do, first of all, always, is we label our triangle. Okay? So this here, always label what you want as A. So if I want this side, I'm going to label this one here as little a. That means that this one here is capital A. I'm going to label this one here as B. It means that this one here is little b. And if this one here is C, then this one here is little c. There we go. And then on the side, I'm going to do my need/got list. So in this case, I need little a. And I've got capital A, I've got little b, and I've got little c. They're the things that I've got. So the question is always the same question, isn't it? Do I have a matching pair in my got list? Okay. Put this over here. Do I have a matching pair in my got list? Do I have a matching pair in my got list? And the answer to this time, the answer today to that question is no, isn't it? I don't have a matching pair in my got list. I've got A and A in there, but they're not both in the got list. So because the answer's no, this means that I need to use the cosine rule. Now I'm trying to find the side, so I write down the formula for the side, which is a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos of a. Now if you remember, I said whenever we're substituting, what makes things easier is using mini brackets. So that's what I'm going to do. So a squared is equal to b squared, which is 8 squared, plus c squared, which is 7 squared, minus 2 times 8 times 7. So look at those mini brackets there. They're just times in all of those. Cos of my angle, which is A, which is 57. There we go. So I'm going to type this into my calculator. So it's going to be... Now, because these are positive, I don't need the mini brackets around this. The ones I only really need the mini brackets around are the 2, 8 and 7 when they're together there with the cos. So I'm just going to do 8 squared plus 7 squared. If these were negative, I would definitely need to use the mini bracket, but they're not. Minus 2 times 8, close bracket, times 7, close bracket, cos of 57. There, like so. So I've typed all that in, press equals on that. That gives me 52. Now take note, I haven't finished there. A squared is equal to, let's get it all up, 52.0004. Okay? So this is equal to, A squared is equal to 52.00042808. Okay? Now, I haven't actually finished there. That's not my answer because that's equal to A squared. So the next thing and the last thing I need to do is to get rid of that squared by square rooting the other side. So square root of my answer, which in this case is equal to one decimal place, 7.2. So I need to square root both sides to find out what just A is. And that's equal to, A is equal to 7.2 centimetres there, to one decimal place. Brilliant. So there's your first question. Alright, have a little go at that question on the right hand side yourself. Have a little go at this question on the right. Alright, let's have a look at this together then. So remember, the first thing that I always do is to label my triangle. Now remember, label what you want as A, and I want this one here, so that's A, capital A. Doesn't matter which way around I label these. Here's B, lowercase b, and this one here is C. and lowercase c here, like so. So then I do my need and got list, which is over here. So need slash got, and I need in this case lowercase a. I've got a, I've got b, lowercase b, and I've got lowercase c. I ask myself the question, do I have a matching pair in my got list? And the answer to that is, do I have a matching pair in my got list? And the answer to this one here is no. So I'm going to be using the cosine rule. There we go. So because I'm trying to find my side, I'm going to write down the formula for the cosine rule for the side, which is a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos of a. Let's sub it all in then. So a squared is equal to 5 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 5 times 12 times cos of 39. Let's work out what that is and then do the square root of this. So this is equal to 5 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 5 times 12 cos of 39, which is equal to 75. So a squared is equal to 75 point, what was it? 75.74 2484, and then I'm going to do the square root of that answer. Get that back up so we can see it. So the square root of that answer, which is equal to 8.7 to 1 decimal place. Well done if you got that right. Brilliant. Super. Really good. Alright, there's your two answers. Brilliant. So let's have a look at these ones now. So you notice this one here is a little bit different, isn't it? Because we're trying to find the angle here. Okay, so this here is example 2. We're trying to find the angle. Now, same as always, I always label what I want as A. So in this case, what I want is this angle. So I label this as A. Opposite here is A, little a. So I'll call this one here B maybe, so that one here is little b, and I'll call this one here capital C, which means that this one here is little c. I then do my need and got list, need slash got. This time I need capital A. This time I've got lowercase a, lowercase b, lowercase c. So do I have a matching pair in my got list? The answer to that, because we're doing the cosine rule, of course, is no. But this is so important, isn't it? Because we use this to try and figure out whether we're using the sine rule or the cosine rule. So it's no, so I'm using the cosine rule. So the cosine rule is A is equal to cos to the minus 1 of b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc, like so. So let's sub all that in. Let's show the examiner I know what I'm doing. Cos to the minus 1 of b squared, which is 16 squared, plus c squared, which is 14 squared, minus a squared, which is 18 squared, all over, using the mini brackets for the bottom, 2 times b, which is 16, times by c, which is 14. Now, because we've already rearranged our formula, we can just use this one. So let's type it all in. Big old formula this. Shift cos to the minus 1 first over the fraction 16 squared plus 14 squared minus 18 squared all over 2 times 16 times by 14 there, like so. Brilliant. Type all that in, and that's going to be 73.4 to 1 decimal place. 73.4 to 1 decimal place. Brilliant stuff. Really impressive. Alright, have a little go at that one on the right hand side. Have a little go at the one on the right. Alright, let's have a little go at it together then. It's the same as always. Label what I want as A first of all. So it's this angle at the bottom, isn't it? So this is A, which means that this is little a. I'll call this one here B, which means this one here is little b. This one here, it doesn't matter which way around you do these, but so this one here is little c. That should be capital C, shouldn't it? Angles are capital, sides are lowercase. So do my need and got list. In this case, I need capital A. I've got little a, little b, little c. Do I have a matching pair in my got list? The answer is no. So I'm using the cosine rule. Brilliant. So let's write this down for the cosine rule for the angle, which is cos to the minus 1 of b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc, like so. And this is equal to cos to the minus 1 of b squared, which is 7 squared plus 6 squared minus 8 squared all over 2 times 7 times 6 there, like so. Type that into my calculator. Shift cos to the minus 1 of the fraction button, 7 squared plus 6 squared minus 8 squared all over 2 times 7 times 6 there, like so. Close that bracket, press equals. I end up with 75.5 in this case. 75.5 degrees there, like so. Brilliant. Alright.